were able to go through those resumes and kind of look over them. I ended up doing a little something different with getting what I thought the better candidates on paper were, had them come into the office, spend a half hour to an hour reviewing the job to see if it's something that they truly want to do. And that actually was really good, because we had some people we thought after they left would be really good, got back with us and said just a little more than they wanted. So it was good that we did that. Last week, we were able to interview 4 individuals that we thought were our top candidates after the little job description training that we did. So in that, I think we came to one candidate that we thought would be a really good fit for the position. It was Jamie Wetter. She's been with the county 17 years now. She was interested in the position. I want to say that we did make her an offer on the position, and she has accepted it as long as the board is willing to accept her acceptance. We did come to an agreement on pay scale was at $23 an hour. Which in that she was taking a little bit of a pay cut. The one thing that she did ask that we would honor is her time served for her PTO through the county. So 17 years of experience, dedication to the county already. She'd be at the top tier of PTO time earned per paycheck. So that was the offer that we gave her to see if that's something that she would be interested in, and she did accept it. Shannon, thank you very much for everything that you did for us with the interviews and emails out to these individuals and stuff. But just want to ask you guys to make a motion to accept the offer for her to take over the position. I think the starting date was going to be the 1st of November.
Yeah, it's the first week of November.
First week of November, she would come over and start. And the plan is to do the training from the day she starts to December 5th with Jane. So we got plenty of time to go through that training.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to sit in on that and participate in both the interviews. And again, thank you to Shannon for coordinating and assisting with the Q&A and the interview process. I mean, again, to everybody, 50 applications was really kind of amazing to see that much interest in working with the district, and just going through the interviews. Each interviewee or candidate, it just kept increasing. I mean, every candidate was really amazing that we were able to sit down and interview. I think everybody would have been very, very good in the position, but obviously at the end of it, by the time we sat down with Jamie, she really stood out, both to me and the others on the committee. I know I'm putting words in John's mouth. I mean, Jim, you could speak up.
I agree. I was impressed with the candidates that we had. It was encouraging. I think some people are being considered, they interviewed so good with us that they may have opportunities within the county here or whatever. Everything went smooth, and we told everybody that it was all going to be subject to board approval.
Yep.
So as a personnel group, all we were doing was going through doing the interview and going to make a recommendation. If you say, well, hell, no, I don't want, they can, the board can say, we want to look at whatever, we were just a part of this.
And I think we recommended to Nathan both the salary and the tier for the PTO. So she wouldn't carry over PTO. So it's not like she would start with a PTO, but she would be at a higher, so we'd give her a seniority ranking so she would earn at the higher tier. So that's reasonable since we're asking her to take a pay cut to come work for us, but that sounds like that works out well. So with that, if there's any other questions, I'll make a motion to extend the offer of employment to Jamie Wetter at the salary.
John,
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so now we can move on to Receive project customer questions. So anybody in the crowd that has a question, go ahead and state your name and give us your address so we can get that part of the minutes and stuff.
Did they sign in?
My
Is
name
there a
is
sign,
Roger Rose.
just a second, is there a sign-in sheet?
Yes.
There is.
Did you sign in?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
and it's my wife Cindy,
And what was your name again?
Roger, R-G-E-R. And Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, Rose, R-O-S-E.
Okay, thank you.
And we're at 3380 West, 1200 North.
3380 West.
1200 North.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
So we did. This letter notifying us about the sewer, was news to us. We don't get to cater Democrats, so I'm totally out of the blue. So I don't know much about this at all, but I can tell you, we built our house in 1993. We've lived there for 32 years. We have a pressurized mounted septic system. I know a lot of the neighbors around us might have gravity fed, but we have the full absorption bed. So a lot of things, what's the cost to be on this sewer system?
Mhm.
Would be one question. I don't know if you want me to state what they would be, or go one at a time.
You want me to answer? Okay, as for your absorption field that you have on your property right now, in that letter, there was an exemption form that you can fill out. You turn that into our office. Once that's turned in, I then will send over that information to the local health department. Local health department has all of those permits that were approved systems at the time. Not saying your system is there, not saying it's not. That is the department that would have that.
Yeah.
Once that is done, you would have to have an inspection performed on your system. That's the tank inspected, the field inspected and everything to verify that the system is in working order. So all of that would be approved or denied by the local health department.
Who
So,
would do that?
huh?
Who would do that?
They have a list of pumpers and inspection agencies that they can give you to, I mean, they're gonna reach out to you and say it's either like, hey, we have a file in our office. These are the people that you can contact to have the inspection performed. Or they're gonna say, look, we do not have anything on our records that indicate that you have an on-site septic system and that your request is denied.
If
So-
we asked for an exemption, you know, at the time that was put in, that was an expensive system.
Mm-hmm.
If we ask for an exemption and it gets inspected, and, you know, our assumption is it would not fail, but let's say it does fail. What consequence is that to us immediately, since this thing's not gonna be constructed?
That would be a health department question. Because with a failing system, it depends. I mean, failing can be met in different terms. I mean, is it properly working now or is the tank close to collapsing? Is your D-box need to be replaced? Those are considered failed systems. Those are easy fixes, but your system is still going to be able to work for the time being. Now, worst case scenario is, I would have to say, you're probably gonna have to put in a pump and haul or something of that nature. But I know the local health department is really easy to work with when it comes to that type of stuff. If it isn't failing, they can then require you to hook to the sewer when that time comes.
That would be
Now-
okay.
Now, the cost to you for the sewer district, because I know this question's gonna come up. Inside a project, when we run the lines, we place the grinder wherever you ask us to place it. We will have the contractor and the engineer out there with you to determine where your tank is now to where we can locate that grinder at whatever spot that you desire. Closer, further, I mean, you can put it wherever you want as long as you can get to it from your house. There is no cost to you for the grinder at that time. The line from the main line all the way to the grinder itself, there's no charge to you. That is on the district. That's part of the project. The only cost that you will incur is the hookup from the house to the grinder itself. You will have to have a contractor, which we have a list of 20 contractors that you can contact. I always say, get prices from as many people as you can, because I mean, it's a competitive market out there. We really truly have 4 or 5 guys that do 90% of them that we have. They're really good at what they do. They usually bring an electrician with them because they're gonna have to hook the electrical up in your house to the grinder itself. So in that, you'll have a $75 inspection fee and whatever the cost is from the house to the grinder, and that's what you owe the contractor. They're a third party to us. You guys are the ones hiring them. We are not the ones hiring them. So that is what you incur, plus your monthly bill.
Which is why, what did that be?
Well, I'll tell you at the end of the meeting today.
Right now, the bill's $93.30.
Proposed to go to 100, right?
It's,
Correct.
yeah,
And
it's,
roughly, you've done a lot of this, so what's the cost per 100 feet to connect to the grinder?
that, I hate giving out numbers. I always say your minimum $1,500 probably to hook up. I mean, that's electrical and everything. But-
Top end might be $3,000.
Yeah, depending on how far you gotta go.
depending on-
I mean, and that's why we get with the homeowners to say, where do you want this? I mean, we can be within 10 feet of the house, the structure. But you can put it all the way out by the road if you want to, as long as you can get enough fall from where it's coming out of your house already to wherever the grinder is placed.
Okay, and
So-
my next question is pretty close to what I wanted to get answered.
Yeah.
If I filed for an exemption and was granted the exemption for 10 years, am I subject to a random inspection to see whether the system fails?
Not from this department,
So,
no.
And then what if we need to hook up later?
So today's price, I'm just giving you today's, because just remember, these prices have increased in the 9 years that the sewer district has been here. The grinder pits themselves, what I have that I've paid for so far that sets at my shop is about $6,900. Then you're subject to a $2,000 tap fee to tap into the line. And you're gonna pay for the line and everything from the road, the grinder, and the hookup to the house. So say depending on how far away from you are from the house, it's no different than putting in a septic system, but it's maintenance free because we maintain the grinder. If it goes out in the middle of the night and you call me, we come out and we replace whatever. We own the grinder pit all the way to the road. So if any of that is ever damaged, the sewer district takes care of that.
So
If you guys were to wait and you had to put in the system, the grinder pump station and the lines to connect after the fact, so let's say you waited 10 years and then you had to do it on your own, you're probably looking at a minimum, I'm gonna say $15,000 to make that connection happen in today's dollars.
Yes.
So, but keep in mind what Nathan's saying is, if you elect to, connect to the sewer now, all those costs are absorbed by the project. And then again, your only expense out of pocket is the cost from your house to the grinder, both the new pipes and all that. And then you'd have to pump it septic.
Right.
But again, those costs would be relatively minimal in comparison.
yeah, the funding that we have for this project is tied to this project. So when you make the decision, you're gonna have to weigh the options, because if you elect to go for the exemption and it's granted, then you've opted out of the project. We can't go capture that money again. We can't ask your neighbors who are paying the sewer bills to pay to have that connection because you skipped out on 10 years of paying the sewer bill, right? So we've got to balance that out, and the funding just it won't allow us to do that.
And just know too, once you have a sewer, you can do whatever, you can remodel, you can do whatever you want to your property. You can put a building anywhere that you want with a bathroom in it, as long as it can be hooked to it. Your restrictions for that are pretty much gone when it comes to the health department, and the building department. You can add on to your house. We just had a person that wanted it, one of the last projects, was like, I've been wanting to add on to my house for years. Now they've done it, and they didn't have to upgrade to a $30,000 septic system because the sewer was put there.
Right.
Okay, I'd like to give up the floor, but I'd like to say also, I believe in clean water, believe keeping our streams clean. I don't wanna, if I have a failing system, I don't wanna be discharging.
Well, and I will say,
Appreciate
you live right next to the ditch there.
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
I'm sure if you probably don't walk in the bottom of that ditch
We do not.
because that ditch is full. I mean, every house that's back there in the woods there,
He ditches into it also.
everybody dumps right into that. So,
Yes.
Well, and keep in mind too, that the grinder pump, if you'd elect to connect, the grinder pumps owned, operated and maintained by the sewer district. So something happens to it, goes out, alarm comes on, have to call the district, they come out, they have a maintenance staff that operates 24/7.
Is that a real visible?
There's a light on top with a really loud sound.
Yeah.
If you don't hear it, your neighbor will, and then they call me. But there is a silent button on the side that you can shut the sound off because it is annoying, and that's the point of it, is to make sure that you hear it. So you can actually shut that off, the sound, but it leaves the light on, and then that's when you need to contact us.
And every house would have one that's connected.
Correct, and if you really wanna go look at one, just drive down 200 west and just north of Sunnybrook, the addition there,
Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
There's a number of folks that are connected that are to the north.
I just
And
don't
some
know
of them sit in their
how much
yards.
it is.
The control panel is the most objectionable part of it.
It's a 4x4 post, but it's a 30-inch pit lid that goes 10 feet in the ground.
Yeah,
Thank you.
those are good questions.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and they don't have to use our contractor or the contractor.
Yeah, you can do it yourself.
Yeah, if you say, oh,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna go there and dig my trench myself and lay it.
I had a guy
It's your
that
call.
spent 2
Whoever
weeks.
wants to do it.
We just have to
Doing
inspect
it.
it.
Yeah, it has to meet our specs is what it has to
Yeah.
do, whatever.
And all of that information, and we'll have a public meeting that all of these questions that everyone has will be answered to. You gotta remember, this is our 6th project, we'll be at about 1,200 customers. We've heard every question. There's nothing that's out of the realm when it comes to asking. We have answers for all of them. I mean, we've had 1,200 people sit in front of us and ask us these questions.
If you have a new question, then you get a gold star. You are the customer of the month at that rate.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the crowd have a question?
I just, it's probably not even within what you want your meeting here, but we're with the solid waste district at the old Golden Meadows. We got the exemption form. We just got questions wondering, are we gonna be hooked up to that? We have that option there, or what's?
You would have the option if we decide, so we did that as an alternate bid. Because we have to determine, does the cost weigh out the benefits of running underneath 33 and doing it all? And that's something I'm still discussing with the commissioners.
Okay, so it may be a couple years down the road yet. even.
No, it'll be in this project possibly.
Okay.
We haven't, I don't know, Ben, do we?
We have the funding.
Okay, that's what our next thing was, we've already got our budget set for next year as far as cost, what it would be. I don't know if you do the same cost as residential or how that works with us. Something just.
How many people?
We'll have as many as.
I mean,
15 or so.
full-time, yeah.
Okay.
But there's just a bathroom, I mean, you're not,
Yep, no,
nothing crazy.
couple.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna be at the minimum. So
Yeah,
that'd
we'd be at the
one
minimum
residential rate.
one bill.
Just the regular.
Yeah.
And as far as the hookup and sending it back there and all that's taken care of, we don't have to pay for just like the residents.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all. We just was kind of get an idea when you're looking at doing that.
If you need
How we
to, if
felt in it.
you need to ask for more in the budget, you got a council member here.
What was
We're
your name?
probably okay with it anyways, but we were just kind of curious about that part, how much it cost would be, and if we
I
were
just
gonna
wanted to
be.
state it, that's all.
We do have the funding to do it.
Because it would be a no-brainer, that septic system's old, it's been there. so we-
Construction, we'd want to join it. I appreciate knowing. Yeah. Construction would take place.
That's all. Thank you.
What was the name on that?
Jeff McIntosh.
Thank you. Okay, and I believe you had a question yet too.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of questions. First, I thought this was the meeting to ask questions. Is there another meeting to not?
We'll have a
We're gonna
public
have another
meeting.
You'll have others, minus the apple.
But you can ask questions, go ahead.
But
Okay,
what's
so,
your name and
what's your
address?
My name's Seth Sipe. I live at 11500 North 200 West. And first question is, what started all this? Why are we going through all the trouble?
So that sign that's right up there, the algae bloom up at Lake Erie watershed. The US government started taking samples throughout the St. Mary's and other inlets to the Lake Erie. And Adams County was one of the biggest contributors to the pollution getting into the Lake Erie watershed. And in that, I mean, the sewer district's been around for what, 15 years or so? 9 years in projects, almost
Like
10
100.
now. They either said, they went to the commissioners and either said, you guys get a handle on this and we'll help fund it, or they're gonna step in and do it themselves. And we didn't want that, as a county. So the sewer district was formed, and in that form, the areas that we go to are not areas that the sewer district itself picks. They are given to us by the local health department on areas that are in need, small lot sizes. The soils just aren't the best for on-site septic systems. And those are the areas that they give us. We take those into consideration and try to determine what areas that we need to go, what direction of those areas that they give us. And it all depends on funding. SRF, our state revolving fund, is the ones that fund us on all these projects. So we submit to them. They tell us, okay, we're gonna give you $3 million in grant money. You're gonna have to take $2 million out in loan money. We have to then determine whether or not that is justifiable for what it costs to put them in and the loans for the customers. Because your bills are split up 3 ways. A third of it goes to the treatment that we send either to Decatur or Bern. We do have a location down in Bern. A third of it goes back to the maintenance. So when we take care of the grinder and change out your $2,300 pump and everything that's there, that is part of what each customer is paying. And the other third goes back to the loan that we have to get for some of these projects. So we're part of the county, but we're not part of the county. We are a separate entity. We are not tax funded here. We are self-funded. So through our customers, we don't get any tax dollars to run the sewer district. So what we try to do is pick these areas that we can afford to go and that are the worst areas that we're told that need it the most. We have a lot of customers. So one of the reasons you're on 500 West, you said? 200 West. Okay, so that area that we're going, Winnikin School had reached out and had a request to connect. We get these all the time. People that want it. Hey, we need sewer here. We would like to have sewer here. So we go in those directions of where the most people truly want it. And then also we take the consideration of the health department on what areas that need it. And then we try to just figure out how much money it's gonna cost and how much the government's gonna give us to fund these. Because the more grant money we get, the less loan we have to get, and those are 30-year loans. So we wanna make sure that we can pay our bills at the end of the day too.
Okay, so if Winnikin asks to be hooked up, just go there.
Well,
we
Yeah.
are, we're going up 200 west, we're going down 1200 north, we're going to the school. There's homes along the route, you happen to be one of them.
There are the homes along the route, they asked for this, or they're just caught up in it?
They're just somewhat part of the project.
I'm pretty sure, how many homes you say hooked up, 1,200?
well, after this project, it'll be roughly 1,200.
Okay, out of those 1,200, how many people wanted this?
Well, I haven't got many complaints about the ones that are hooked up now. I
Are
mean,
you listening to them? Because this is like wildly unpopular.
well, yeah, I mean, but it's something that we have to start cleaning up, and to get from point A to point B, you gotta go by places. We have to look at the best route to get to that too. Where can we pick up the most homes, the bang for our buck? You know, at the end of the day, we don't wanna go a mile and only pick up 2 homes when we could go the other mile and pick up 20 homes. I mean, you gotta put it into perspective on, if we're getting these funds, we have to be able to hook the people up and pay for the actual 30-year loan in the projects to be able to maintain them too. So we have to look at our best routes.
Okay, so out of all 1,200 homes that have been hooked up so far, has there been a measurable change in water quality in the river?
Oh, absolutely. That's what that's for.
Well, we got the sign.
That's why we got the sign.
There's been measurable impacts on the waterways, both at a local level from people behind their own streams and their own ditches behind their properties, odors and mosquitoes and such, where they use the dirty water to breed. They love that a lot. So there's been areas of impact, but usually it's in the smaller, in those specific project areas as well as the major watersheds. But I mean, when they had the algae bloom in the Lake Erie watershed, there was discussions between states where could Ohio sue Indiana for leaving pollution that affected the raw water, their drinking water. And so there was discussions about how states could sue each other for pollution and those impacts. And so the agreed order that came through in Adams County to force the county to create the sewer district, we're essentially trustees to pursue doing those sort of projects in a fiscally responsible manner. And we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't try to do that. And that's why, as was brought up, there is exemptions forms that are available to property owners. If you can show documentation or you have evidence, you're like, hey, we're not contributing to this. Absolutely, you are more than welcome to have that. Nobody on this board is going to argue against you claiming an exemption and saying, well, you can't have that because we don't want you to. Absolutely, if your system isn't contributing, Godspeed, get that exemption and take it. That's why it's there for you.
Out of the exemptions that have been applied for, like, do you have any idea how many have been applied for?
I don't remember
In
how
all
many,
the projects, it's hard to say because I mean, I've already gotten a couple already from this one because the letters were sent out. Now denial wise, I don't.
How many have been approved out of how many?
Oh, there's been approved. We've had quite a few of them approved, but also you have to look at the length of the system itself. Does it make a financial sense to get another 10 years out of now you're going to spend another $10,000 or more just to hook back up? I mean, so yes, I mean, once we explain that to people, I mean, we had one gentleman that was down south that met under the 20-year mark and he had like 5 years left. And as soon as I explained to him, look, you can put a building, you can do whatever you want on your property, you can add on. He was like instantly like, oh, give me the sewer because I've always wanted to. His septic system sat right in the middle of his property. Well, now he was able to do what he wanted.
And to your question too, of anybody who's applied for an exemption that the health department has recommended that we should grant one, I'm not aware of anybody that the board has ever rejected an exemption that has been approved from the health department. I mean, I don't know. I don't keep track of how many there has been. So you're asking a difficult question. We'd have to go back and actually pull the records for that, but I'm not aware of anybody we've ever said no to that has a working system. So.
I have no, oh yeah, what are my options with my tank? What do I do with my tank?
So you can, it has to be pumped out. And this is a health department requirement. It needs to be pumped out and the top crushed, backfilled with whatever you want. And the reason for that is you don't want that tank sitting there full or empty or whatever. And then all of a sudden that thing collapses and you've got a kid or an elderly person walking around the house and falls into that thing, you'd never hear them. So
probably my tank's 10 foot underground and it's under my patio. And I don't care enough about this sewer to dig up my patio to crush my.
How do you pump it?
how do you pump it out?
I just had guys pump it out, like,
How do you?
last summer?
How do they do that? If it's that,
So, I don't know why you couldn't.
you could put a flowable fill, anything like that.
Just fill it, you can fill it with dirt if you want.
Yeah, I mean, the same way you would pump it out, you would just pump a flowable fill or something else into it to fill that void.
I didn't know if that was the only option was to crush it.
No, we've had
I
them.
don't want the sewer to begin with, let alone tear up my patio.
Well,
Yeah.
we had somebody that was in their garage. They built a garage over their septic tank and
When I worked with Wells County, there was one under a guy's living room.
Yeah.
So.
or underneath an addition of the house or something. We're here to work with you on that type of stuff. We're not gonna sit there and say, hey, you gotta tear that up. Now, if you've got a concrete patio out your back door and your line comes through there, we've got a camera. As long as it's not like clay tile, we camera that, because if it's a permanent structure that's there, we're not gonna make you tear it up to hook onto it. But we do have a camera. We wanna make sure that it's working properly and that no water's coming into it. If you have the ability to run a new line over, if you have a basement, and you can run it over and drill a new hole through the wall, that's great. That's what I would suggest. Because if you do ever have a problem and we catch that there's water coming in there, then you're fixing it anyway. So while you got everything tore up at one time, it's probably better to do it that way. And all these contractors that we use are really good. I mean, we do a lot of that stuff. So nothing's out of the realm of being able to do what needs to be done.
How old is your system, sir?
House was built in the sixties.
60s?
So it's just a tank to tile, more than likely. Yeah.
I just had that pumped out and fixed and worked on last year.
And your other question was how many people, have they wanted the system or not wanted it? That's not really a good question, because a lot of people, the first thing they say is, I don't really need another 90 or $100 or whatever it is out of my budget. No one does want that. But once they get hooked into the system, it's amazing how many, boy, I'm glad I'm into this. How many people now we have that want to get into this system? Because that just, I'm told now that a new septic system is 30,000. That's the low end of it. That's from a contractor that does it. So,
Yeah.
That's if your
We must
property.
be talking to two different groups of people.
pardon me?
We must be talking to two different groups of people.
You'd be amazed on how many people want the system. You only hear about the people that don't want it. I mean,
I hear almost exclusively from people who don't want it.
Well, and I hope all their stuff is staying in their property like it's supposed to, and not, we had it at Pleasant Mills. A lot of people weren't happy about that at all. That's.
there was some
And-
out in Pleasant Mills that didn't even have septic tanks. It was straight piped right into the river.
The river, and they had no idea, they're blaming us for something. No, it was their own system. It was plugged. Their stuff wasn't even getting out of whatever. And then when it's cleaned up, whoa, wow, that's pretty good. So you don't know. And the septic system doesn't last forever by any stretch. But great questions.
Sarah Kearns, I'm at 11500 West Grand West. I was just curious about some of the funding. So there's different like contract A, contract B, contract C. We're in contract B. Is funding split up a certain way? Like it's going to be different from each contract? No.
No.
Okay.
One way the funding's for the entire project, you just have to be in one year.
Okay.
So again, the entire collection system, the grinder pump station, they'll service your house. The line from the grinder to our line, all that's paid for as a part.
So like when you did Pleasant Mills, like were they charged the same as what like, we're going to be charged? Yeah. Because I thought it a lot more expensive than what you had said earlier. So I was just.
What do
We've
you
got
mean
a
charge?
standardized rates. So the
Yeah.
district has one rate across all of our customers.
Yeah.
And one that just keeps us from having zones. There were some sewer districts that would have this rate for this group of customers and this rate for that group of customers. And that's just not tenable that's for residential rates. So they have different customers across it. Now, the rate schedule that we have does for businesses, if you've got different customer numbers, there's the floor, which is the same rate as the residential rates. But if you have a big business, then you might actually be paying more than the standardized residential rate.
Like you guys saying what, like you guys pay for the grinder and everything, we're just paying for the hookup,
Just the cost to connect.
Yeah.
From your home to the grinder.
which would be 1,500 to 3,000.
Yeah.
On the distance.
And that's something you guys can do yourself too.
Budgetary.
I mean, if you buy the material, you can dig it in yourself. Now, there is specs to it that you have to meet with certain type of pipe and fittings and things like that. But yeah, we've had quite a few homeowners that, hey, I got a buddy that's got a mini. We're gonna do it. That's fine.
We've set some of these grinders within 5 or 10 feet of lines next to the home. That are going to the septic tank now. They just need to be rerouted into our grinder. So it could be relatively inexpensive. The cost to connect the electricity might be a little more, because I think, do we require a licensed electrician?
No.
Or does it say?
State doesn't.
State.
I don't know why we would.
Yeah. It's just gotta be a 30 amp breaker, double pole breaker, 30 amp breaker in the house. That's the only requirement that we have, and that's so, we have a disconnect on our panel out there, so if we ever have to work on it, we don't have to come and knock on the door and say, hey, can we shut the power off? We can pull power to our panel at the lift, or at the grinder station itself. So, and the technology that we have with these grinders is kind of unreal. I mean, I'm able to see every time the pump turns on, turns off. I can catch leaking toilets. I can catch sump pumps. I can catch anything, water coming in somewhere. I can see it all. So,
And just, I guess, so you're maybe more aware, it all stems, these are federal and state requirements to stop human waste going into our rivers and ditches. Good, and I understand, hate it, love it.
I do.
I understand you completely, I have every right to, but, you know, collectively, we're getting human waste in Great Lakes, rivers, and streams, and ditches. I mean, it's pretty gross, and it sucks that it has to come to this. But I think it's better than
Ignoring it.
It's better than a pump and
toilet
haul.
paper,
Is the,
urine, you know, in the smell of it. I understand your frustration, like, really.
Well, I mean, my frustration, you want me to pay thousands of dollars. What's the cost now a month? Or better question would be, what has been the increase in bill cost year over year?
well, we haven't increased it in 9 years,
You haven't?
but we have to now because, our treatment cost just went up 24%. And we don't have a hold on that. We pay Decatur or Burn, and they've raised they've increased their treatment costs, which comes back to us having to raise our treatment
We
costs.
literally held the line on rates for 10 years. It's never changed.
And I don't wanna sound like a salesman, but your
Well-
house was built in the yeah, but it will sound like a sales pitch, I'm not. But said your house was built in the sixties, too. I imagine you're right on the cusp of either having to replace an entire septic system and then crush and get rid of that one, or hook on the sewer now. So
Pumping
it might be a
hall's a lot
blessing in
more
the
than
timing
$100.
where you're at.
Well, with that, how long does this
might be either way.
sewer
I
system
know.
last? It's getting put in.
Like I said, if you fail, you have to pump and haul, it's gonna be more than what the bill is gonna be every week.
No, like how long is your system expected to last?
We calculate a useful life of a collection system that's generally greater than 50 years. And really, quite honestly, the pipes in the ground, 100 years. I mean, the stuff that will fail are pumps and parts, and that's what the district's all about, to maintain those pieces of equipment.
the loan on the system that we have to have is 40 or 35 years?
It's 35.
35 for this one. So we got a 35-year loan, and that's just on the stuff that isn't grant funded. So it's long-lived assets. Will the pump last 35 years? No, we know that, and that's why part of the bill goes for an asset management plan and goes back as a sinking fund to replace pumps as they go bad.
And they don't, but the pump increase has been over the years.
Yeah, well, that's
huge.
yeah, I mean, everything's increased dramatically. I mean, you can't go to the grocery store and buy a gallon of milk of what you could 9 years ago, you know? So everything's going up. Our pumps have gone up double, you know, from the day that we first put them in. So we do have a good stockpile of them to make sure that we're able to maintain and keep the district running as efficiently as we can. But everything costs money, and we have to look at the future, not just what we have in the ground now. It's keep building, keep making sure that the maintenance is up. I mean, there's two of us that maintain everything. So we are working, we're on call 24/7. I mean, you call me at 1 o'clock in the morning, we're more than likely coming out and working on it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we do take pride in what we do, and we do take care of our customers. So, because we know that you're paying a bill that you don't want, we want to make sure that we're giving you best customer service that we can.
For the federal funding ends, then a service provider doesn't.
No, we'll still maintain them. That's part of that bill is to maintain that stuff. I can't guarantee in 40 years that, you know, I mean,
Right, but some funding only lasts, so many years and a project's supposed to be done.
the project funding is strictly for the project. The maintenance, we don't get any funding for the maintenance side of things.
Yeah, maintenance
part of the
operations,
bill.
nobody's salary is paid by a grant, and
Okay.
so
Yeah.
none of that. The grant money only goes to construction. So it buys the manholes, the pumps, the pipes, all of the construction work. It pays Ben, maybe that's the only salary comes out of that a little bit, but tongue in cheek. But the user fees are what operates the district. And so by having that pool of people, all 1,200 customers rely on the district to continue to pay that fee so that we continue to pay that or do that service, and that it collectively benefits everybody within the region. So. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Chloette Smith. I live at East 400 North. And I have a question. You said that you will place the grinder anywhere on the property that we needed. So what happens if it has to go 400 feet from that service road that's in front of our property?
We just use a bigger pipe. So normally your service laterals are 1.5 inches. We'll move that up to a 2-inch line to service. That way we have more flow and capacity going through there. We do it all the time.
Okay, so you'll place the grinder however far into the property I need it and where I need it? Okay,
Within reason.
within reason.
We have to access the grinder pump station to maintain.
Okay,
And I can't turn a corner, run a 90 and stick it behind it. There's, you
no,
know,
I was thinking along the property
Yeah,
line, as
totally
long as
fine.
it's on my property, not my neighbor's.
Yeah.
And it would go out to where
Yeah.
the system is.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my next question was,
We gotta have enough flow.
this system is gonna last maybe 50 years. So 50 years from now, hopefully I won't be around. The upgrade, is that gonna, if you guys have to redo this whole system, is that gonna be another expense to the people, or would it be just an increase in the maintenance fees that we pay?
the stuff that's gonna break, the control panel, the pump, some of the equipment within the grinder pump station.
Mhm.
And again, the district's socking away money all the time to repair those items as they fail.
Okay,
So could your bill go up over time? Probably.
well, yeah, probably,
Probably. But
just for cleaning.
will there be a wholesale replacing the sewers in any of our lifetimes? Probably.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I asked.
By the by, we're the board up here, and we're not paid, so if you think, we throw a little more in there, charge a little more, so we make some money, we're not paid. Those two folks there and him are the paid,
Full-time
members of our
employees.
sewer district, so.
Did you wanna say you were a ratepayer too, Jim?
Pardon me?
Did you wanna say you were a ratepayer too?
You are a customer.
Yeah, I'm one, and I got one in the project coming up too, kind of, so it's a daily double.
Yes.
What's your expected start date? We're on 1,200 North. Expected start date, expected completion date.
January of 2026 and completion in your specific area by
270 days.
November. Could go faster,
And how much disruption in the front of our yard?
The sewer in your area is gonna be directionally drilled, so it shouldn't be bad. They'll probably have to open up a hole where they need to run the line back to your property to service your home. But by and large, along the county roads, it's gonna be drilled.
Drilled it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've seen with gas company.
And just know too, we do a pre-construction video. And in that video, we take a video of everything before any dirt's been moved or anything. If there's ever any discrepancy after the project's done, the contractor is responsible for making sure that they get that looking, seeded, grass growing, everything like that. If there's any issues within the day that we send out the order to connect, so everything's done. From that day for one whole year, if you have any issues, if your grass isn't growing right, you've got a sinkhole in your yard, they broke a tile, you call me up. We have there's a warranty on that, and that contractor is responsible for coming back out and fixing any issues that happen. If you have a dog fence that's buried and they hit it, they're gonna come out and fix it. So just know that we do take a lot of pride in making sure that our customers, their yards look right. Now, we do not come back and restore from the grinder to the house. That is all on the responsibility of the homeowner, because you hired the contractor to do that. But anything around that grinder, before they even leave, they're gonna have grass growing around the grinder and up by the,
There's lift stations involved in this project, right?
just one on yours.
Just
And that's
one?
over at Winnikin.
It's gonna be at the school.
It's gonna be over at the school. Yep.
And there's one down in Cypress too. But it's already there.
Okay.
That's where it's dumping in
It's
there.
gonna pump to there.
I just wanna add a few things. So we talked about the district being responsible for, the grinders and stuff. Should there ever be a power outage, we have like a generator so that, you know, they can go out and, run those grinders and send it to the lift station. So the customers don't have to worry about, things backing up.
And just remember, if power goes out, you only got one flush per toilet anyway. I mean, your pressure tank, when that's out, you're done. I mean, you might have a couple, but
And, he talked about a $75 inspection fee. So after the contractor is done doing their stuff to hook you up, they get a hold of one of these two guys and they come out, inspect it to make sure it is up to the standards that we set, and then it would be covered up, correct?
Yep. Hi, Rod.
Rod Sentiment, 11997 Northeast Athens Street, Gators. Nathan knows where I'm at, right there in Williams Elevator. Technically, I got full properties there because it's, the old.
Yep.
Am I only gonna be able to have, just have to put in one lift station then? Or are you gonna maybe put it in for separate buildings or addresses or?
If we can get it all to work on one,
Okay.
that would be great. Cause that's just one to maintain, you know? I mean, you're the property owner, we can put it in there and what we call it is a shared grinder. Now you own all of it, so say you wanna sell the house someday, we would have to put in an alternating box there, whoever were to buy it. That way it pulls power off of your building one time, the house off the other. But if you own both, I mean, I know where you're at and you own all that. If we can get them all tied together, to me, I'd rather work on one than two or three.
Okay,
So.
and then, what about, as far as down the road or whatever, I mean, obviously this is like a little business basically you guys have. Okay, what if you sell this then? How does that work then for us being individuals? I mean, if the contractor says that we don't have to pay for a grinder pump and everything, something goes wrong with it, and the next so-called business comes in and says, but you are responsible for that. How are you gonna protect us against that then?
I'm gonna let him answer this one.
Well, the district is it's a governmental unit, so we can't, district has that responsibility to maintain all of the equipment that we've got in the ground. So I suppose, I don't know, what was it, Ben? Up there, there was a private company that took over some stuff up in Allen County.
Well, in Allen County, they had a district too, and they sold to the city of Fort Wayne.
Yes, correct.
So the
And
Fort
that's my
Wayne folks
question,
took it
basically.
over.
And then Fort Wayne turned around and said, we have to pay for all that stuff now.
That's correct.
So.
I don't envision that happening down there.
Okay, but how do we get protected against that?
Question.
It's the people that appoint us. So between the commissioners and council members that appoint the trustees, as long as we know what the interest of the people that we represent. I mean, there's no benefit for us to sell it. It's not like we net anything. So there's no backdoor deal. It's, as far as the district, it's a community asset for you as the ratepayers. So if the commissioners and the council and the city of Bern and the city of Decatur, if those elected officials that appoint the trustees that serve on this board, they don't want to see it done, the people don't want to see it done, I don't see that there'd be any reason for the board to try to move forward on something like that.
To me, the whole situation up in Allen County is extremely unique.
Okay, I'm just asking though.
It's a good question.
It happened.
It is a good question.
Concerned about that. I don't know what happened. The other one is more of just a statement or whatever, so help with with this guy's, I don't want it either, okay? You know, I'm gonna say that too, but same token, we have to look for our future as far as our water contamination in the ground. I have been going to India a lot here, like I'll be there the whole winter and everything. India has no drinking water that you can drink out of the spout. Okay, everything has to be boiled. Okay, if you don't buy it in a bottle, you know, you don't go to a restaurant and get it off the table because everything has to be boiled and you don't know it. That's the only reason I'm even, you know, trying for this at all is for our future with our, you know, with our kids. I got grandkids now. That's all I just wanted to say to him. You know, it's our water quality. They have no drinking water out of the ground. And that will end up being us too. You know, back in the day, there was hardly anybody out. When I moved there, it was 40 plus years ago. There's nobody out there. You know, now we've got houses everywhere. And the pollution in our ditches, I did excavating work for 30 plus years. It's bad in our area, trust me. I don't want it though, okay? But in the same token, for our kids, for our future, we gotta do something. Right or wrong, we gotta do something. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else has any questions? Okay, if not, we will move on to our regularly scheduled meeting. So we will go to approval of claims.
I've got,
Already.
Thanks, guys.
Is it something we said or what?
So I'll just get up at
all
one.
the good stuff here. We got the claims vouchers. I got payroll vouchers totaling $6,653 and claims vouchers totaling $102,658.93. So claims vouchers 102,658.93.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll and the claim vouchers as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Dion, second by Josh. All in favor, aye for the claims.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
If he goes to India.
All right, you ready for?
Yep. Keep rolling.
The red. The rivers.
Reconciliation.
Sorry, I'm looking at my list here. Do I have to read the whole cookie? So.
First Bank of Burn operating
Is
account.
there a shortened one?
We have $635,966.90. First Bank of Burn Gold account with a balance of $378,058.05. Bank of New York, $297,534.52. And Bank of New York Project 5, $135,523.48. And that is the September 1st through September 30th bank reconciliation.
Those balances presented, I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
That was Dion and John.
Dion, Josh again.
John.
Oh, John, sorry. I'm writing my notes here.
John S.
John S., I got it.
Only option today.
Oh, John, we got it.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay.
I do have an SRF amount I think I sent to everyone.
Good.
So the payment is for $38,554.80. Commonwealth for Project 6, and I added that with the prior two from last month. So we'll have a claim voucher to be signed for $109,271.
271.
Yes.
I'll use that total, okay, not the small, okay.
Okay, I figured we'd get a motion for that.
So
Yeah, they
moved.
got back with me then.
Okay, motion by Nate, second. I'll second it.
Who was the second?
I was. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Yes. So that's the.
Okay.
So just signed by me and Shannon.
Okay. So moving forward. District Superintendent report.
Why don't we try to get with Ian and Chloe with Baker Tilly? That way we can get this all done with our rates. Ian, are you there? Hello? Audio?
You'd escape.
That symbol is
Looks
there.
like she's muted, but looks like he is unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
There we go. Sorry, that was probably on my end trying to get the technology to work. So
That will cost you.
yeah, just bill it to me. So
Okay.
All right, Ian, you want to take it away on the amendatory rate ordinance? We've got amendatory rate ordinance 2025-1. It's the Adams County Regional Sewer District amendatory rate ordinance. It's an ordinance amending and restating ordinance 2022-04, establishing a rate, establishing a schedule of rates and charges to be collected by the Adams County Regional Sewer District from the owners of property served by the sewage works of the district and other matters connected therewith. So what I need is a motion to introduce this amendatory rate ordinance 2025-1 and to consider it on first reading. So I need a motion to that effect.
Motion to introduce ordinance 2025-1, the amendatory rate ordinance.
Okay, we got a motion.
First reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, all right, so we've got this ordinance before you. Ian, you want to summarize the ordinance for us?
yep, yeah. So quick summary here and kind of the changes that we're seeing in the ordinance. So as you're well aware, we're going through this project. I know we've obviously had numerous discussions been going on a long time here. So the ordinance really encapsulates a 3-phase approach to rate increases here. I'm going to back up a second here, and Mark, do they have the ordinance in front of them?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, so essentially what we've done with this ordinance for the introduction here is they're frankly inflated rates for the introduction. So the reason being for that is to not delay the bond process and move to a public hearing. We've inflated rates since we're still going through some final touch up to the rates, and time didn't permit us to get through our internal review process here. So the rate ordinance that's in front of you all, we have the current rate that is for a typical user, that $93.30. So that's the billing charge of $335, and then your service charge per equivalent single family dwelling unit of $89.95. So that total monthly bill $93.30. What we're proposing here in the inflated rates, and I'll move to what rate we actually think rates are going to be at. But for 2026, we're proposing a 15% increase to about a $3.85 billing charge and a $103.44 single or service charge per equivalent single family dwelling unit in 26. Phase 2 in 27 and phase 3 in 28 represent 5% increases. So those are together a 25% increase if you're adding them together. Compounding probably works a little bit differently in the math, but again, inflated rates there. And then we are also proposing an interim rate that is 50% of each of those phased rates, which can be seen a little bit lower in the narrative under section D, section 3, item D, which again are slightly inflated. So Mark, I can go through the rate ordinance to, well, what we anticipate rates to be. Not sure if there's anything else as far as the rate ordinance for the introduction that you want specifically.
No, go ahead. You can cover it. We've just got it introduced, and then we'll table it for further consideration following the public hearing that's scheduled which I think is November 5th.
Yep.
So I made a copy of the rate schedule for everybody here. All the board members have that in front of them.
Perfect. So, and I'll kind of pick up from there. So obviously there's the introduction piece of this, which are the inflated rates. And again, I'll rehash this of why we're showing inflated rates and kind of move backwards from there. These inflated rates, again, are just to continue forward with the SRF process. So as you are all probably well aware, when we go to the public hearing, we cannot show higher rates than what we introduce. So introducing high here enables us to go back to that public hearing and adoption and essentially decrease rates to what we anticipate them to be. So that moves me into my next point here. As this introduction is inflated, we are, and I don't know if this was passed around yet. I know I sent it to the working group yesterday of where we anticipate just going through internal review to verify, but we anticipate rates actually being around 5% each phase. So 26, 27, 28 having a 5% increase. So a lot more manageable. And by 28, we get up to about $107.50 for a monthly bill for our users. And that's your billing charge as well as the service charge. In each phase that looks, it is a 5% increase. So a lot more manageable and palatable. But in terms of the introduction, again, inflated here so we can continue moving and just cross our T's, dot our I's on our side of things for the public hearing.
Ian, this has been,
Yep.
even the numbers that you have in your most recent rate report, where it shows a top end 2028 rate of 107, whatever that says, I can't read it.
Yep.
That still conceivably comes down a little bit more, right? Because we're gonna get that, what is it, a 50 basis point reduction in interest rate, or is it a full 100 points?
So it is 50, and that is actually factored in there. So
Oh, it is factored in. Okay.
That is factored in. So board, what Ben is referencing there, and Ben, you might have already covered this, but on top of, I know it's probably been shared through Nathan and others, but the funding package we received from SRF was very favorable in all circumstances. We did not anticipate getting a full $5 million of grant money in any instance. So that was obviously welcome, and that's more than I've seen anywhere else in doing this. So that $5 million was a great funding package, and so we're only having to loan out about $1 million, $971,000 roughly, which is great. Ben and I worked with SRF team yesterday and identified what they call non-point, but septic relief basis point credits that essentially we can apply here. So we got the traditional loan funding, which is the lowest interest rate that SRF offers. So amazing there. But on top of that, we can also reduce our interest rate another 50 basis points. So we are at 2.97 and we can reduce down to about 2.47, which is the max they'll allow for a 50 basis point for the septic relief credits that we're receiving. So on top of the already great funding package that we received and the lowest interest rate SRF has to offer, we get an additional 50 basis points on top of that, which helps interest over the life of the loan, especially at 35 years. The savings is about, 100, I think rough calculation, about $150,000 of interest cost savings, which is obviously something great. So.
The board have any other questions?
How long is this, the 28 rate expected to last?
Our anticipation would be for the foreseeable future, knowing that we're factoring in obviously 3 years of inflation there. We're building in your max annual debt service of all the debt within that 28 rate, because SRF will require that we hit that a year after the projects are completed, which is 2028 essentially at this point. I know it's November, December of 2027 would be a year after full completion of the projects. But the idea is that it hang around there. Obviously, there are no promises given any cost increases. I know with COVID, obviously, we didn't anticipate the inflationary environment, any other projects, but we've picked up and worked with Nathan and Ben on, 5-year capital plans, estimates on staffing, everything along those lines. So the idea is that they would hold for the foreseeable future, but we always recommend still taking a look every 3 to 5 years at rates to just true up if need be and create more manageable increases. So
Yeah, so Ian, if we stay within the 5% increase, then we don't have to worry about that extra notice requirement, right?
That's correct. And the way that I know I had a conversation with Jeff yesterday and how it's been, and Mark, you might have seen this in other places. I know there's certainly been some discussions on it, but some other RSDs that Jeff Rao, our partner, has worked with too. The language, I think, potentially says that there's some compounding of rates too. So obviously, if year one, if it was technically over that 5%, since we haven't increased rates for such a long time, there should be some ability to compound over that 5% for year one. But correct, in 27 and 28, capping at that 5% would keep us from that statute.
Okay, good.
So Mark, just so I understand, so what he's saying is that like for 2026, the maximum amount that we could charge would be 107.29, but the proposed is 97.97. That's the 5% increase. But then we as a board could determine an amount in between those ranges.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Anything from where we're at up to the advertised amount.
The 107.29.
Yep.
Okay.
So we could.
Yeah, and this is, sorry, not to cut in here. I mean, this is certainly a recommendation for phasing, and typically we just do phasing as kind of a premise to here. It's because the 5% kind of threshold in the statute for the 27 and 28 years, but you can certainly adopt something higher if you would prefer, if you don't want to go through phasing in this phase one, do it all at once. And that's certainly up to you. We just had proposed this phasing kind of as an ease in and a budgetary standpoint for residents, but certainly up to you all. It is not tried and true. You don't have to look at this 3-year phase if you don't want to. So,
I guess another question, the Decatur up their rate in phases as well, is this proposed meet that same scale?
It does. We factored in it was 10% this year, if I'm not mistaken, and then 14% in 26. So we are incorporating that. We're also incorporating, I know it's a very small component of things, but the Lynn Grove service area, well, I guess Burn, I don't think the Adams County rate actually increased now that I'm thinking about it and just looked at it. But yes, we're incorporating the Burn side of things, the Decatur side of things, and Decatur's increase. I actually got with their clerk treasurer and got that ordinance and tracked everything through. And I know Jane had provided calculations as well. So thank you, Jane, for answering all my emails. So we have all that factored through, and that's all being picked up here, as well as future treatment costs Ben had provided in some of his analysis as well. So
we have rate increases this year and going into next year.
It's all captured.
Are these amounts, is like the 107, the high level amounts, is that what we would put in the paper? That the rates could be adjusted up to these amounts for these years? Or do we just have to put a notice in? Do we have to notify? I guess I
don't think we have to put the numbers in, do we?
I was gonna say.
I don't want you to.
Well, I think it's in the
the
published notice.
I think we have to publish it.
Yeah.
It's the SRF requirement. So I think that's the number.
like
The
the
numbers,
107,
you see the high numbers are the numbers that go out public.
Okay, all right.
So
there's
but we gotta go essentially bait and switch. We say, here's the bad news, but here's the good news, is
Yeah.
we're not going as high as we could have.
We need a higher call center.
It's frustrating that we go that high.
I would just say that like for 2026, just based on some numbers that I've ran, and I have to leave here. I gotta head to Fort Wayne, but like the proposed numbers is the 97.97 isn't gonna get us where we need to be. But I think the 107.29, I believe that is a pretty high elevated number. So I think if we can meet in the middle somewhere, I think that'll be good.
Are you talking about the advertised or the actual?
Yeah, well, the proposed, this one here on the draft proposal, the 97.97, I don't see that working going into next year.
100 or what?
What's that?
Think more 100 or what?
I was thinking we needed to
Like
be at 100, didn't we?
304.
Or
I thought we had to be
104.
over 100 to meet some criteria.
Just based off the rough estimates that I have done for 2026, and these are really rough numbers. To break even, just to break even on the side of things, we'd have to be at 101, 101.51.
Okay.
And so that's just break even.
But they sent it to us, right?
So, and I can send this out to the group. Actually, I can send this to you, Nathan. You can send it out to the group. I have it in Excel format as far as the numbers and stuff like that.
Mark, wasn't
but I
there
just
a
wanted to
some
make sure I knew we were
set
at.
of criteria we had to be at $100, at least $100?
Yeah, I think it was SRF is kind of looking at districts and saying you need to be 100 or more on your rate. And if you're less than that, then it's harder to get good funding packages, but.
And
Yeah.
John,
Oh, sorry, Ben.
I think Baker Tilly shared this progressively higher number with SRF, and that's what cost them.
Correct. It's that rate after the project or as a result of the project. So they wouldn't look at just year one. It would be the kind of when that full rate has to go into effect based on max annual debt service and everything else that's combined there. We are reaching over 100, but they look at things to determine certain interest rates, things along those lines. And they look at where you, for your matrix rates, so I'll call them matrix rates, but your traditional loan rates that they give you, essentially, they're looking at kind of where things would be at as a standstill over that $100 mark. And can we get you guys down below that amount typically for projects if we are over that $100, and try and mitigate that as much as possible through the interest rates. But certainly here too, the full project does get us over that $100 mark. And I know there was a comment there about $101 being closer to a break-even standpoint, and that's probably right on par there. I know in year one, we are estimating about a negative cash flow of about 46,000. So using cash on hand, which is present at the RSD currently, I mean, we're sitting above recommended reserves as of 12/31/24, which was our calendar year that we utilized. We were, based on our recommended reserves, we were about $600,000 over where we would recommend. So what that means is we're anticipating spending that down a little bit and easing in those rates until we get to 2028, where you're around a $900 break-even standpoint. So,
Ian, you had made the comment about a 5% ceiling for rate increases. Is that something to do with state law changes as far as what we're allowed to make increases during any increment?
We can avoid
Avoid what?
What was that, Ben?
We're avoiding remonstrance.
correct. So it's not necessarily for, yeah, I mean, long story short, Ben is correct. Remonstrance and kind of avoiding all of that. So.
Delay everything, so.
And I can get an email sent out to the board too, because in that year one, if you did decide in 2026 that we wanted to go kind of full steam ahead and just not worry about phasing and kind of the headaches that could potentially present, based on how we read the Indiana code and how Jeff has worked with other RSDs, I believe, since we haven't changed rates. I know in 2022, it sounds like we didn't increase rates per se there, but there was a change in rate ordinance at some point there for 2022. There should be a period of compounding of that percentage increase. So year one, it might say 5%, but you haven't increased rates or changed that ordinance since 22. So it's been, 2 years and some change, almost 3 years by the time these rates would go into effect January 1, 26, that you'd have 3 years of a 5% compounding increase, so max of 15%, and avoid kind of that remonstrance as we understand the Indiana code. So you technically could go up to that full amount based on how we understand that and avoid that remonstrance, and kind of do it all in one foul swoop if that's the interest of the board.
So, Ian, is that a calendar year increase or is it every 12 months?
How we read it was every 12 months from the date of adoption or effective date, essentially.
So wherever you're at, it's 12 months from that. So you could
The
increase
last time
rates.
we adopted was December.
Yep.
And Ian, what was the logic and reasoning to spend down the reserves versus go with the closer to $101 initial phase one rate?
Just to show it at the 5%. Really, that was in case there was any issue with extending over that 5%. That's the whole reason for that. It's just keeping 5 or 3 equal rate increases essentially. I know that last phase is only around 4.5, but just to keep it equal and as a budgetary standpoint.
Gotcha.
So Mark, is the goal today to at least have the board approve an ordinance to do a rate increase? Like when do we actually determine what the rate increase is going to be?
That'll be-
After the rate hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, so today we're just introducing this ordinance 2025-1, a mandatory rate ordinance, which you've already introduced. So I'll ask for a motion now to table this 2025-1 ordinance for further consideration following our public hearing, which will be held on November 5, 2025 at 1 PM in this room.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, so we'll have the public hearing. Following the public hearing, then and you'll decide after the public hearing what, exactly you want the rate to be at, and then
After
you'll
the
adopt
public
it.
Hearing or our meeting a couple days later?
No, it'll be right after. We'll have the public hearing, then we adjourn the public hearing, convene this meeting, and then you'll adopt an ordinance.
All right, guys, I gotta head out. Sorry about that.
No, you're 15 minutes later, so.
Okay.
Yep, and we'll have rates well in advance of that, so we should have that tidied up next week and kind of those final figures based on what we had just talked about here. And certainly if the board does want to just move forward with the 1 rate increase, or if it wants to do 2, however that kind of sees fit, we can certainly cater to that. But yeah, we can have those tidied up here pretty shortly and have that well in advance of obviously the public hearing and adoption. So that way everybody has a kind of quick things.
Hey, Ian, this has been, apologies for getting you in at math so late.
No, Ben, you are completely fine. That's why, we have the ability to inflate these and just move forward with the process. That is no problem at all. I'd rather have the project right and kind of go through that process than have everybody rushing through things and trying to get it all, inaccurate numbers. And then we have to come back for another rate increase down the road. So
Well, we extended the bid timing, and I think that was very, very helpful because we got really great bids. And the last one, the numbers were so close, it took me a minute to sort out who was actually low. So,
well, Ben, you did something right because you don't see very often, obviously, and I know you know this better than I do. Bids coming in under what we anticipated, so I was pleasantly surprised. I
was too. Well, thanks, Ian.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything else you guys need from me? I'm happy to stay on.
I think the next thing we got to do is introduce our bond ordinance. And bid, so all bids are in?
Yeah, you don't have to do anything today with them.
You don't have to do anything today
We
with
can
it?
do it after the 5th.
Okay. What's that?
I said they are printed.
What? The bids are? Okay. So what I need is, we've got a bond ordinance. So this is bond ordinance 2025-2. And this is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition, construction, and its installation of certain improvements for the sewage works system of the Adams County Regional Sewer District, the issuance of additional revenue bonds in one or more series to provide the cost thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of such system, safeguarding the interest of the owners of such revenue bonds, and other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of such bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith. So this is bond ordinance 2025-2. It's 72 pages long. It says that that the anticipation notes will be in the estimated amount not to exceed $8,520,000, 35-year period. Need a motion to introduce bond ordinance 2025-2 and to consider it for further consideration following the public hearing on November 5th. So I need a motion to that effect. That motion?
Yeah.
Shannon, second. Jim,
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so we'll show that the bond ordinance has been introduced. Need a motion then to table the bond ordinance for further consideration following our public hearing on November 5th. Can I get a motion to that effect? So made by Shannon. Is there a second?
Yes.
Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we got our bond ordinance introduced as well. Anything else we gotta do, Ian?
No, not to, my knowledge. We should be good on our front of things, so.
Okay, well, we gotta get our, publication in, and Brooke's got that ready to go. Any questions? All right, Ben, you wanna talk about bids?
Yeah, I can't, do you wanna cut Ian loose?
Yeah, we can. Yep.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody. Let me know if
Thank
anybody
you.
has any questions. You got my email, so thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
I guess, I mean, unless you wanna just go back to the agenda.
Where are we?
That's a darn good question.
Do you have an update or do you have a superintendent report or should we just go into that? and
Just-
That's good enough.
We're good enough.
Okay,
Okay, well then I will go.
then
We have it.
we're there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's essentially, we have a copy of your
There's your
superintendent's report.
superintendent's
Right.
report.
No
Okay,
question.
just,
No
just for everybody's information, we took bids. We bid the project in 3 phases, 3 different dates, 3 contracts. One was the Monmouth Force Main improvements, one was the Winnicott extension, and then one was the extension to the south along 200 east, 100 east, and 400 north. So for the Monmouth Road extension or force main upgrade, we received 7 bids. They range from a low of 762 and change to 1.7 million. So there was a pretty wide range. Our engineer's estimate was 885,000.
The scopes are all the same on the.
Yeah, trust me, John, I never understand why some of these guys put together bids sometimes. Just keep in mind, the bottom 4 were all within 70,000 of each other. So, our estimate was 885, so we were 122 grand under our estimate. We bid the contract B, which is the Winnicott extension. We had anticipated, and the range on that one, John, just so you know, we had 7 bids on that as well. And our range was 3,032,000 to 3.9 million, so it was a lot tighter. And the top end guy on that was the same as the top end guy.
There was
Sometimes I
a
question these guys.
$14,000 difference between the top 2 contracts.
And I will say this, we had 3 different alternates on the Winnicott extension. We had a small sewer extension alternate. We bid in a standby generator at Monmouth. And we bid in a,
Lift station.
or a new panel, control panel for Arcadia. So all things we needed. We didn't know if we could afford to do any of those things with the funding we had. But all 3 of those things together only totaled $3,032,855. So our estimate, again, to just do the sewer was 3.2 million. So not only could we do the sewer, but we could do all the other bells and whistles stuff and still be well underneath what we thought we were gonna be. So, and again, like Nathan said, we had 2 contractors that were literally so close that I literally had to dig down into the specs to figure out who was actually what.
Yeah.
Because there is a very specific clause to determine the successful bidder.
Yep.
So, and we wanted one, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, we did not get the one we wanted just because of the way the contract documents were written.
What, and just curious, what did it get down to? And I'm not familiar with
So,
how it goes
Of
in those
the,
contracts.
of the 2 contractors that were close to it, the one that was awarded the bid, take the base bid and all 3 of them combined. The difference there was $14,287 difference between the 2 on a $3 million project. The one alternate bid that we had in there was kind of that up in the air maybe thing.
Right.
If you take that out, the other contractor gets it and there's a $9,700 split between them two, but the other contractor would have been awarded the bid.
Second place goes to first place on one alternate on a three.
So you just start removing alternates to get to final.
No, we
Basically,
can't.
John, what it said was the successful bidder was determined based upon the total of everything. So the lowest total of everything was the successful bidder. Now it says once the successful bidder has been determined, then we can take one or two or three of the alternates, any ones we want, just to, you know, achieve a budget that we might have in mind. Or we could say no to any of them.
It's a requirement in there, and you have to have that sort of language determined in your contract bid specs, because if, as an owner, we want to work with a contractor and you start putting fluffy alternates in until you get the bidder you want, it's a way of bid rigging that the state doesn't want to allow, shouldn't allow, because it's unethical. So what we have in there is you follow the standards, you get the bidder for the low bid, and then we can cut our budget after that. You don't determine who wins after we figure out what their numbers are. You're not supposed to do that.
But, and trust me, I sort of wanted to,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Oh,
But that's not
there's
the way it works.
the motivation's there. There's incentive there. I get it.
Here's the thing, John. Both the contractors in our top two on that project were both contractors that we've worked with before.
Yeah.
Nothing
Both very
against the
good.
contractors.
Both very good.
Zero difference between the contractors. My whole thought was the one contractor that won the bid already has another project. Can he get them both done in the time frame that we have? That was my
He's gonna
question,
have to.
and he's
Yeah.
gonna have to.
He's gonna have
He
to.
bet it.
He should have bid it.
Absolutely.
He bet the bigger project.
And I've talked to
Should've had
them
a flop
already,
for that second one.
and they're gonna start January 1 on the gravity. And he's subbing that out to another contractor, which is fine because the other contractor's really good too. To do all the
Right.
digging. So I have no worries. My only concern was he gonna be able to get them done? I didn't wanna turn into a Clems Lake South where we have to give extensions because they couldn't get the job done. You know,
And last but not least, we bid the area to the south of Decatur. The bids there, we had 8 bids. We had 7 or 8 bids for every job. Range from $1,075,000 to $1.5 million, so pretty tight. And again, we had an alternate in that job too, to cross 33 and go down 200 east to service, I guess, the
transfer
Yeah,
station.
and the old home. What I ended up doing, just for everybody's information, I recommended in the letters that I wrote that we accept every alternate for every job as a basis of our contracts and everything else. And it's all wrapped up in the math that Ian had. But where I'm going with it is I think we will cut away certain things. And at the end of the day, we're gonna be left with money left over that we'll have to decide what we wanna do with again.
I think we just accept them, get it in the rates, get it in our ordinances, and then as we get some more determination from specifically the commissioners on the Golden Meadow site, is whether or not we do that sewer, then we can do a change order, a deduct change order from the contract.
Absolutely.
And then we
So,
can decide on the transfer station and Golden Meadows, we can make that determination at that point.
we're literally not hurt in any way, and in fact, the original ask from SRF was 6.1 million. The numbers at the end of the day were 5.971. So our loan amount came down, we got everything we wanted and then some, and we're just sitting in a great spot, is all I can
And we
say.
have opportunities to make some cuts as well.
Absolutely.
You know, like cutting going under 33, I think we could keep that. Just opens up everything, you know, do it now while we have the money, if everything goes through.
I totally agree, John. That's why we recommended that we move forward with that. Now, whether or not we go all the way south to the old county home or not, you know, maybe we don't do that because maybe that is gonna get torn down. I don't know.
I don't know. But I don't
We can
think
go to
you'll
the
be able to
transfer
cross,
station.
having looked at that ad alternate item, I don't know how you could cross that for less than that.
Oh,
And
I
you
don't
got
either.
grant
We
money.
got an incredible price.
Yeah, I mean, if you, 6 months from now, you asked to do that as a standalone project, you're gonna spend double that. So I I would agree, absolutely, get the crossing done so we could get that in, because if the transfer station does have septic problems, suddenly that's $1 million project all on its own, trying to figure that out.
Well, you just heard them, they want, I mean, I was glad they were here even because you heard them say they wanted the sewer.
Yeah, oh, it'll clean up their site as well and what their concerns are. Cause he can't possibly budget for a mound septic system.
He's got one.
I mean, another one.
To go under 33 without asking the commissioners to
Well, we
pay.
can always ask.
Well, no,
Short
but I
answer is
thought we were
yes.
saying, well, you know, it
Yes.
gets tight.
Short answer.
We're gonna have to knock on their door and say, you must go,
No, we got
we
it.
can do it ourselves.
Yes.
And I think it'd be incredibly stupid not to go under it. Do it.
Well, if the numbers would have been any different, I would have said, screw that option, but again, we got great bids and there's no reason not to.
Well, I know,
Right.
just for reference, I talked with Wells County yesterday. They had 3 bids in their project. And we had 7,
We had
7,
a
and 8.
minimum of 7, we had 7 bids on a $760,000 job.
Yeah, that's amazing. Kudos to you, good strategy, Ben.
A lot of work out there.
It worked out very well for
Yeah,
us.
excellent job. I would like to recommend that if we do have extra money, that goes to a certain board member's pension upcoming.
You. Won't be a while till I retire, but I appreciate the pension.
That's really not what I had in mind, John.
Oh.
Well, and again, there's nothing to do with the bids. We've got a
Well
90-day hold. At the next meeting, I'll ask you guys to award and we'll go down that road. So that's all I got.
How about his legal fees, Jim? How about that, his legal fees?
Yeah, yeah, those be legal fees. I don't start to get what I need.
So we'll bring these back.
Okay. So I guess
brain
we're
needs a
other
rest.
matters.
Nothing else
Do we have
matters.
any other matters? If not, I don't see any public comments, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
John and Jim, all in
Aye.
favor, aye.